Welcome to Interface Seattle 2018. Kevin Hunter here on Northwest Digital News. My special guest is Sid Herron from Xiologix. And did I pronounce that
yes, you did.
properly? All right, Xiologix. For people who are following along on the web, if you want to look up Xiologix, Kyle, if you would, put this on the web, Xiologix.com. And so Kyle will put that in the live stream for those of you who want to click on that. Let's talk about internet security, because this is kind of the crux of what you guys do, and you have other things in here as well, but let's talk about internet security and network security. This obviously, just even looking at the various seminars that have been presented here and the talks that have been presented here, this is a really big concern in today's high-tech world. Yep. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. Nobody wants to be the next headline. Mm-hmm. You know, all you have to do is read the newspaper. I think Marriott is the latest big company that got nailed with a breach of who knows how many millions of customers with their information exposed. Nobody wants that kind of publicity. Everybody's interested in you know, how do we really secure our business? And the challenge is that, you know, as we were talking earlier, the days when we could just put up a perimeter firewall in the data center, maybe some intrusion detection stuff, maybe some log aggregation, looking at the security logs, and which tells you what's already happened a week ago, right? Not what's happening now, and some anti-malware on the desktops. These days, that's still necessary, but it's no longer sufficient. And it's no longer sufficient because we got users out there running around all over the place with laptops, iPads, iPhones, you know, Android devices. Some are company owned, some are their own personal devices. If they're doing a BYOD, they probably got personal information and company information on those devices. And they're working from any place they can get an internet connection. So we really need to be able to figure out how to move to a user-centric security model and not just a data center centric security model. You know, we need to be able to know how to manage those devices, how to separate the personal and the business information, how to pull the business information off of there if the device is lost or stolen or the employee leaves the company. Hopefully without destroying their own personal information in the process. Right. You know, we need some analytics that can learn what normal behavior is, so that if suddenly the CEO that typically logs in from home between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. On a normal circumstance, if 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning those credentials are presented from a connection that's originating in Hong Kong, there's probably something suspicious about that.
Correct.
It would be nice to proactively shut that session down and prevent anything bad from happening, instead of figuring out a week later when we go through the security logs that something funny happened. Oh my God, what happened as a result of that? What information did we lose?
I heard your comments with Harry Brailsford, and obviously managing security has been something you've been around for a long time. Would you say that move from a data-centric type security to that consumer, has that been like the single biggest change that you've seen in recent years, or what would you say are really the challenges?
Yeah, I would say in recent years that's the biggest challenge that people are trying to figure out how to deal with, is how do I give my mobile workforce the tools that they need to do their job the way they need to do their job. And basically what that means today is I want to be able to get to my data and applications from wherever I am, whenever I need to, with whatever device I have at hand. How do I give my employees the ability to do that and not just throw security out the window? And it's a fine line to walk, right? You know, we used to say, Mr. Customer, I can build you a file server that I can guarantee you is 100% secure. I'll build it, I'll stick it in an office, I'll lock the door, and I won't connect it to the network at all. It's 100% secure. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's totally useless to you.
That's correct.
So security is always some kind of compromise.
Yeah, and so the great idea of people being able to access that network from anywhere and the convenience of it all also leads to a bunch of additional challenges too. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Are there things, when you think about people wanting to ramp up their security, what would be some logical first steps that they would take in improving their security?
I think they need to clearly define what their use cases are. Who are the users that are accessing my network? What are they accessing? What are the legitimate things that they need to access, and when, and from where, and then go from there. How can I secure this? Does it make sense? And part of it depends on the business model also. Obviously, Bank of America that's processing billions of dollars worth of credit card transactions has a different level of security need than the corner grocery store. So some of that has to be taken into account. But what makes sense for the business? What do my users really need to access, and how can I give them that access, and how critical is, what's at risk? Do I need two-factor authentication? Is that something I need to worry about? Do I have HIPAA regulations or other other kind of Sarbanes-Oxley or some kind of compliance that I've got to deal with and protect a particular kind of information in a particular way? So that has to be looked at as well. But I think it all starts with looking at the users. Who are they? Where are they connecting from? Do they really have a need to connect from where they're connecting from? And how are they doing it? And how do I let them do that securely?
A question for somebody who's maybe a newbie at this altogether, and they're saying, I'd love to be in a position where I have the kind of expertise that Sid Herron does. What would you give? What kind of advice would you give to even a younger self of yourself if you were starting afresh in this field today? What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is saying, hey, what education do I need? What information do I need to wrap my hands around? And how would I kind of get started? What would be your response?
There are some pretty decent formal education procedures on computer security. Here in the local area, Edmonds Community College has a pretty good program. There are also industry associations that put on various levels of training. There are industry certifications that you can go for in the security space, and there are training companies that specifically specialize in training people to meet those certifications. It's not necessarily inexpensive, but if that's what someone wants to pursue, those are some of the ways to pursue it.
Let's talk about Interface Seattle here. You guys are here as one of the vendors this year. Has Xiologix been involved here with the Interface before?
Yeah.
Prior to this? Have.
Yeah.
Okay. What does this bring to the table for you as a vendor here? Who does it help connect you with?
Well, it helps us connect. I think Interface does a pretty good job of focusing on business decision makers and filtering out the students and the tire kickers. It tends to be a better show in terms of actually connecting with IT directors.
You're getting in touch with a higher level
Yeah.
person in the organization.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic, because anything that helps decrease the amount of time and investment you put into getting to the people that you can really help and are in a position to make decisions, to help themselves. Obviously very key thing. So good thing to hear. Special thanks to everybody who joined us here on the live stream via Twitch TV or Patreon, YouTube, or the Facebook pages. If you'd like more information on Xiologix, Kyle has added that in the link here below, and you also see the brand name there below Sid on the screen. And so again, thanks to everybody who joined us, and thank you, Sid, for being here on the show and sharing some of your expertise.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of myself, Kevin Hunter, here on Northwest Digital News, and my guest, Sid Herron from Xiologix. Thanks, everyone. Till next time.